Welcome to Astrosymm. I'd like to share some astronomical patterns I've found for record volcanic eruptions. The first one I've chosen is Tambora in Indonesia, which erupted at least 8 to 10 cubic miles of dense rock equivalent. This is history's largest recorded eruption. You can clearly see the planet-star symmetric pattern. We'll be using a bird's eye view from the north looking south towards the Sun-Earth plane, also known as the ecliptic plane or the plane of the eclipses. 1816 was called the year without a summer in both North America and Europe because ash and gases from the 1815 Tambora eruption had created a stratospheric veil, resulting in a global surface cooling effect. Here are some of the colors that commonly show up in sunsets after a major eruption. They can persist for months or even 2 to 3 years after the event. They also show up in paintings in the periods immediately after the eruptions. Now these are the brightest stars within the ecliptic plane. You can see the K pattern with stars Regulus and Alhena also in that plane. Antares and Aldebaran make up the backbone of the K. Alright, now for the familiar Krakatoa eruption of 1883. At least 2.5 cubic miles of dense rock equivalent was erupted. The K pattern is just as shown previously, but reinforced with Jupiter and Saturn. The sound from this eruption was heard 3,000 miles away in the Indian Ocean. Going back to an eruption in 535 AD, if you extend the Neptune line through the Earth, you can see a triple K pattern within the ecliptic plane. Location for this eruption was probably Ilopango in El Salvador. Please take a close look at the Uranus star and Neptune star angles and you can see almost precise agreement in the angles. One estimate of dense rock equivalent for this eruption is 4.5 cubic miles. Now let's fast forward to 1452 to 53 AD to a volcano called Kuwait, that's Kuwae, in the Vanuatu Islands east of Australia. You can see the split triple K astronomical pattern. This was one of the largest eruptions in the last 2,000 years. This is Nova Rupta in Alaska, the largest eruption of the 20th century at 3.25 cubic miles dense rock equivalent. An expedition in 1916 found that thousands of steam vents or fumaroles were still venting 4 years after the eruption. Here's Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980. You can see the triple K pattern. This eruption resulted in 2/3 of a cubic mile of rock being removed from the mountain. Here's the same diagram which shows just how close the angles match for the Earth-Regulus axis compared to the Earth-Saturn axis. 1,300 feet in elevation was lost from the top of this mountain. We've looked at the macroscopic, now let's look at the microscopic. Silicon and oxygen atoms combine to make the silica group as shown. These silica pyramids, also known as tetrahedrons, can share oxygen atoms and form chains, sheets, or even a 3D framework which forms quartz or feldspar. Now it turns out that these silicate pyramid structures comprise about 90 to 95% of the Earth's crustal volume. Please note that the oxygen-silicon-oxygen angle is a constant 109.5 degrees. Now check out the Sun-Jupiter and the Sun-Saturn angles on May 1, 2008, exactly 109.7 degrees each, almost exactly matching the angle for the silicon tetrahedron. Kite Volcano in southern Chile woke up with earthquake swarms on this date after 368 years of dormancy. The next day there was an intense eruption. In the future, from June 2019 through March 2022, Uranus and Neptune will intermittently set up a triple K subpattern. For prolonged periods from May 2020 through March 2022, the Uranus and Neptune angles with the Antares-Aldebaran backbone will be clearly symmetric. The effects of this triple K should be a wavy north-south oriented jet stream pattern with increased frequency and intensity of both earthquakes and volcanoes. We talked about 1816 being the year without a summer. This cooling effect should be repeated during the volcanic period 2020 to 2022 with a 2 to 3 year residual period following the predicted eruptions. You can see the zonal flow of the jet stream which approximates the lines of latitude. This is a common occurrence. With meridional flow, the jet stream approximates the meridians of longitude. This should be the case in the world's temperate zones for most, but not all, of the period May 2020 through March 2022. There will be an exception in North America in 2021 to 2022. Okay, please click the subscribe button and you'll be alerted for future videos. We've seen some symmetric astronomical patterns associated with volcanic eruptions and some predictions for the future. Here are some credits. Thanks a lot. See you next time.